Hey YouTube, Coppersan here. So this summer I hyperburned a Demon Slayer and I just wanted to share what's up with this class after playing it for a bit. Is it a good class to main, a good bossing mule, or just really not worth your time much? Let's find out. First up, I gotta say, wow, some classes do change a lot with the 6th job advancement. I mained Demon Slayer before, and to me this always was like a DPM class thanks to their lash enhancement, but also had a good mix of burst skills with their Demon, Bane and Spirit of Rage 5th job skills. But your 6th job skills really hone in on that DPM style gameplay, which was quite surprising to me as I never really looked into this class too much after 6th job. Almost every 6th job advancement skill unlocks some form of additional attack or damage that pops out every few seconds when attacking, which was quite surprising. Anyway, let's start all the way from the beginning. Demon Slayers have a good amount of survivability, with skills that gives them brief invincibility, and their leech aura allows them to recover 3% HP of the damage they inflict every 4 seconds, including for party members. Their Raven Storm skill heals them as well, and is one of your invincibility frame skills. And they can also guard attacks with a 30% chance, which when successful also recovers some HP and Fury. Demon Slayers also get the Blue Blood toggle, which back in my day, which was a long time ago it feels like, used to be a buff that you have to keep up by collecting like your rage, but now the class has been simplified and it's just a toggle that adds a lot more damage, making the class a lot more friendly to play. They also have a ton of mobility options, with a rush-like skill called Dark Thrust. They can teleport with their Chaos Lock skill. Chaos Lock is very interesting since it allows you to teleport across the map, and some Demon Slayers train with just the skill teleporting around the map, not really moving around manually. But you know, I prefer to actually play the game that I'm playing, but it can be a very lazy grinder and works very well, especially in bigger maps. Demon Slayers do have a special jump toggle. They can switch between regular double jumping by pressing a jump twice or by pressing the left or right arrow key twice while in the air. If the arrow key variant is active, they can also glide in the air, which can be useful during some boss patterns. Their up jump is always a double tap on the up arrow key, which is different compared to most classes. Demon Slayer's bossing attack, when you're not using your buffed up regular attack, is Demon Impact, which has additional critical rate, ignore defense and pulse damage, which always is great. And even their Infernal Concussion mobbing attack always crits on the second hit, and their Demon Crying debuff reduces monsters their attack, defense, accuracy, and increases EXP and item drop rate, which makes them quite useful to have in your boss loot rooms as well. Skill kit wise, I think this class is very complete, offering a lot of everything with just these first impressions, which makes this class a great pick for starting Maplers. However, this isn't the full picture, of course, like it used to be. Demon Slayers are also quite node heavy as a class. They need to boost Demon Impact, Infernal Concussion, Demon Cry, Dark Metamorphosis, Cerebus Jump and Demon Lash, and then maybe also your teleporting skill, which requires a bit more node investment compared to some of the other simpler to play classes, like for example, I don't know, Bowmaster, Marksman, classes like that. Nowadays you get a lot more node slots, which does make this easier, but still you do need quite a few nodes. Demon Slayers also require 2 different secondary weapons depending on your playstyle. You can run the Princess No Shield, which gives a massive 173 additional Demon Fury, which is great, you'll never run out of it. Or you use the Rune 4 shield, which increases your final damage by 10%, but also increases the damage you take from percentage HP attacks by 25%, which is very risky, but in the right hands it's a very powerful buff. Another small downside is that the Rune 4 shield is a rare drop from the Damien boss. So while initially this class will feel pretty powerful, some additional investment is needed to make the most out of this class. Demon Slayers also are, as I mentioned, a DPM class, which can be a blessing or a curse depending on the boss that you're fighting. So, 5th job attacks. Demon Bane is your key down skill that deals a lot of damage quite quickly and makes you briefly invincible. This skill gets more powerful when you use your other 5th job skill, Demon Awakening. If you use this skill while Demon Awakening is active, you get like 90% more final damage or something crazy like that. Demon Awakening itself will last for 65 seconds at max level and beefs up your lash attack, the regular attack, making it your prime attacking skill for its duration. However, the issue in MapleStory is that bosses usually don't tend to just sit around and let you hit them for free for like a full minute uninterrupted, which makes it more difficult for Demon Slayers to get off their full damage. For example, when fighting Gloom, the eye closes pretty quickly, which means that half of your big damage buff will go to waste. Their other 5th job skill, Orthus, summons 2 demon gods, which also attack every 2 and 3 seconds for 55 seconds at max level. It's a strong attack and huge when mobbing, but same issue here, it's hard to reach the full value of that skill when bosses tend to move around or if you actually have to dodge stuff. Their final 5th job skill is Rage, Spirit of Rage, which is a place down skill that lasts for 14 seconds, dealing damage to monsters within reach. damage. Usually you can get off the full damage here when you use it right before or after binding, so no issues there. It's also pretty big. There's also 2 exclusive demon 5th skills that both have a part of it that produces incoming damage from damage percentage attacks, making this class even more tanky. Demon Slayers have quite a few skills, so make sure to use your skill sequence to make the most out of them. And then we have the 6 job skills. And these already surprised me, like I mentioned at the start of this video. The Demon Impact skill gets buffed, which is great because that means you can destroy boss monsters even faster, but it also gets enhanced every 15 seconds, kinda like Shade's Spirit Claw. This enhanced Demon Chain skill deals even more damage and leaves a debuff, which sadly doesn't stack with Demon Cry. The other 6 job node increases the damage of your Demon Lash and Infernal Concussion, and your Lash also gets a buffed attack every 6 seconds, that's that dragon flying out. And this Lash buff also increases the damage of your Lash when using Demon Awakening, your 5th job skill. The buffed up version of Infernal Concussion is so good. Back when I made this class over in Luna, I actually gave up on it because Infernal Concussion's range was just always slightly too short to train in most maps. It just didn't feel great, you know. But now it has an even bigger and really nice hitbox. And there is more. If you level up this skill, the one with Infernal Concussion, it also increases the damage of Demon Impact and Demon Chain. And continuing with the Hexa skills, and I kinda messed up here because I didn't boost Dark Metamorphosis because, you know, why would I? You know, imagine reading up on the class that you're playing. Can't be me. But apparently you need to level up this skill as well for the 6 job skills, so I had to quickly get some notes in order. But with this node, the Demon Cry gets buffed, which is great and all, but also increases the damage of Demon Impact Chain with a massive 521% at level 1, that's insane. And Hexa Dark Metamorphosis will give this skill a marking ability. When you are hitting an enemy that is marked by this skill, you will deal additional damage, like 713% 4 times at level 1. And that's another attack that pops out when you're attacking. And finally there is the Hexa Cerebus Chomp buff, which also enhances the Cerebus skill every 15 seconds. And it unlocks a new skill called Demonic Roar, which is another additional attack that pops out every 20 seconds when using skills. And when your Origin is active, it activates every 5 seconds for even more DPM. So as you can tell, after reaching the 6th job advancement, Demon Slayers now have additional attacks popping out when they're using their bossing skill, their lash skill when using Cerebus Chomp, and additional attacks popping out when they attack monsters debuffed with a Dark Metamorphosis, or just when using attacking skills. Really drives home that DPM feeling. And then there is their Origin skill, which in my opinion is one of the worst Origin skills in the game, because it keeps reminding me of my own limitations and that I don't really pay attention when bossing. When activating this skill, you unleash like a short attack animation, and after that for 20 seconds you can get more fury than your normal limitations. It like stacks up and additional attacks pop out during this 20 seconds, and then the more fury you stack, the more damage your final attack does. But this final attack you have to activate yourself. It doesn't just activate when the skill ends, no, you actually have to keep an eye out on the timer and then activate it at the final attack at the very last second to deal the most damage. And if you forget, it doesn't trigger automatically, so you just lose out on a ton of your Origin damage. And the same thing here for all the other skills. Most bosses, unless binded correctly, don't like standing still for 20 seconds either, so you gotta spam both your binds back to back to try and get your damage off. So now that we know a bit about how this class works, what's the verdict of this class? I think Demon Slayers have a great kit and are a very forgiving bossing class. They do require a bit more nodes though, and they're not a class that you can just log in and get going like some other classes. Like, you really gotta pay attention, especially because jumping works different. And you know, at least for me, with this type of class, it's not like Bowmaster where I log in, press my skill sequence and go to town. Like, I gotta get into the groove a little bit more, you know? Or maybe that's just me getting old, I don't know. They do also reach their full potential after getting their special secondaries, which requires a bit more invested, either time or mesos, depending on the server that you're playing. And sadly, it looks like Demon Slayer is getting nerfed a bit in the future. And it's currently one of the weaker classes in MapleStory Korea. It won't be as bad in MapleStory Global thanks to our attack speed modifiers, but still it probably isn't looking too good. I think this class is a really good early game bossing mule, like up to Lucid and Will. It definitely shines more after some investment though, making it a good class if you're looking for a new main, I'd say. So either early game bossing mule or a main because of the additional investment and the higher node requirement. But they're also a great early bossing mule because they are pretty powerful early on, I'd say, and they're very forgiving as well with their kit. But what are your opinions of the Demon Slayer? Let me know in the comments, and that's all I had for today. Thanks for watching, and as always, special thanks to our members for making these videos possible. Special thanks to
Niels de Comic, Rama Waar, Sebastian Hanoi, Cowdy Mora, Wine Lee, Backspace OTI, Ziggy Deer, Flidiot, Knifesu, Cloudfix, Michael Menchaka, Ratius, Betrayal 1489, Silvio Nato, Striker Elk, Ricer RU, Max Bernhardt, The Passenger, Scotty Flies Fast, Only, Spotsty, Snufflepop, Dewey Tran, Cunny Woo, Domi Kirch Nehammer, Dex Zoo, Dante Victory, The Wolfdrake, Lord Fazil, Matthew Dev, Tails Kurspet, DVNCA, and Schwandro. Thank you so much for watching.